A major WWE return has been confirmed. This person is not signing with AEW. Plus, Mark Henry calls out AEW, and some original plans have been leaked. We're going to talk about it right here, right now. Welcome back to the Ango Show. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to kick things off with Drew McIntyre. He surprised everybody last night on WWE Raw when he attacked Sami Zayn to close out the show. We hadn't seen Drew McIntyre since Hell in a Cell, and actually that wasn't WWE's plan at all. At least according to PWInsider.com, discussions about his return had been ongoing, but his comeback was anticipated for later this month, potentially coinciding with WWE's holiday live events, and then of course Raw on Netflix. Basically, the reason for this change was because Bronson Reed was injured at Survivor Series, and this is why WWE brought back Drew McIntyre right away. Listen, I absolutely love this. I thought this episode of Raw was fantastic. It was a really, really strong episode, and the most important part too that I think a lot of people are forgetting about is that this is all, like, everything that's happening on Raw is basically coinciding due to a major storyline. It's intertwined into a major storyline that's happening on SmackDown. And it really just goes to show you that Roman Reigns is truly him. But I'm fascinated by this. I think Drew McIntyre going after Sami Zayn is very interesting. I think it's safe to say that maybe Drew McIntyre had actually attacked Jey Uso as well. But I think one of the best parts about this entire storyline is that inadvertently Seth Rollins is going to be a heel, which I think has been must needed for a very long time. Now I truly wonder, maybe this is a crazy idea, but just hear me out. Maybe a new faction or affiliation could be formed between Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. CM Punk, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn. Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins got problems with all of them. They might need a sixth man if you want to do a 3-on-3 tag match. Who could be that sixth man? Hey, if Bronson Reed gets cleared, I think that could be a really cool route to go. And I think, one of the best parts about this storyline and the best part about Drew McIntyre's return, even though it was rushed a little bit, it just makes perfect sense. And if you bring Bronson Reed into the mix, you could have something really cool. I don't know if I would do an actual faction, but having some sort of affiliation between the three could make a lot of sense. An enemy of an enemy makes someone my friend. And I think that is a really good thing that WWE can work with here. Drew McIntyre is a hell of a talent. Him and CM Punk, really good stuff. But him and Sami Zayn is going to be even better. And whatever is happening with Seth Rollins just makes me even more intrigued. So I'm very glad to see that WWE did this and executed it early, even though that wasn't the original plan. Mark Henry obviously worked for AEW. Now he is coming out and calling out AEW on Busted Open Radio. He spoke about the backstage dynamic of the company, minimal collaboration, and he wasn't mincing his words. He says creative is supposed to be an argument. It's supposed to be a shakeup to figure out what the F to do next. Everybody wants to circle jerk over in AEW, and you can't do that. You got to disagree. Me and Bully Ray, for years, we disagreed, but we knew what we were fussing at was the greater good of the match and of the show. Wow. He really nailed it, right? He also echoed the need for AEW to just get better, honestly. And it really comes down to leadership. And I know a lot of wrestling fans aren't going to like this opinion, but I think Mark Henry worked for AEW. He saw things backstage in AEW. He knows how AEW operates. I don't think there is a human being on this earth that can look at the attendance numbers, that can look at the ratings, that can look at the shows and confidently say this is the best version of AEW. I haven't seen one person say that. And I think, yes, you have to be wary because I do believe that some criticism is not legitimate. But I think right now there's a lot of people who understand that AEW is not really trending upwards. I am happy for them getting that new TV deal. I am happy for them that they exist. There are certain storylines that I currently enjoy. I love how the Hurt Business, the Hurt Syndicate is being treated on television. I think it's really cool. But AEW just needs to find their footing. It's not life or death. I think oftentimes when people hear criticism, they think we're advocating for the company to die. No, AEW is not, it's not doom and gloom, but there has to be some sort of change. There has to be some sort of change if you want to see the company grow. And quite frankly, they're just not changing. And you know, it is what it is. But Mark Henry worked there. And I know on social media, people are absolutely not thrilled about his comments, but this was a guy who was there. He's seen it with his own eyes, and he chose not to stay with the company. And this is somebody who has that experience. So maybe just listening to the criticism could benefit the company. I also just want to point out AEW delivers some really good pay-per-views. We talk about this often, but we're trying to watch a weekly television show that keeps us hooked in. That's all we're asking for. And right now it's a little bit different because the Continental Classic, which I thoroughly enjoy, but I just want to see AEW go back to being the company that really put an effort to compete. I don't think I see that effort right now. And if it's there, it's not showing across the product. But I think it's tiresome. And obviously other people agree. All right, guys, we thought she might go to AEW, but she's not. Becky Lynch is in WWE. WWE, we've talked about the reports from Worked Wrestling and so many different sources. However, PW Insider reported that Becky Lynch is among the names scheduled to be at WWE and Netflix headquarter event today. The belief is that Becky Lynch has signed a new agreement with WWE months ago. It's been kept relatively quiet. She's kind of been busy doing her own thing. Obviously, that's going to prevent her from going to AEW. The belief is that Becky Lynch should be back on television by the time Raw is on Netflix. This is obviously a big win for WWE retaining her talents. It would have actually, my opinion on this has kind of changed too throughout the last few months. But it would have been really cool to not see Becky Lynch reports everywhere. It would have been really cool as somebody who's like on the internet. It would have been really cool if there was just some serious mystery. Because I think for the first week, there was a lot of mystery as to Becky Lynch possibly leaving WWE. That is obviously not the case. And therefore, I think if there was a little bit of that mystery, her surprise would have been very cool and executed very well. But I think at this point, it's very well known that she's with the WWE. She's staying with the WWE. There's no plans to leave the WWE. But of course, it would have been really cool to see the actual surprise. And I get it. Us content creators, we kind of ruin it. But if you exist on the internet, this is stuff that is widely public. The Becky Lynch news is a major headline everywhere right now, which is a big testament to her drawing power and her popularity. So obviously, good job to her for that. But mainstream media is picking up on this. So Becky Lynch is obviously a big deal. She chose to stay in WWE, completely fine with it. Seth Rollins has a major storyline coming up. I want to see a major change for Becky Lynch and her character. I don't think inserting her right into the title picture makes a lot of sense because at that point it's going to feel a little bit forced. But I'm excited that she's back. We'll see what happens. And yeah,